So yesterday, we've got a headline that says King County Metro bus closes bus stops at troubled Seattle intersection until further notice. This was in the International District, Little Saigon. And I wake up this morning and we've got bus driver stabbed and killed in Seattle's University District over by University of Washington. What's going on? Are the buses safe in Seattle? Think you might know the answer to that, but we need to get into this. What is going on with King County Metro? What's going on? Here we go.
Closures in place along a critical commute. A series of bus stops on these street corners through Seattle are no longer in use, even though some riders rely on them.
Yeah, they shouldn't have did that. All this can be dealt with.
Other bus passengers say the safety concerns have grown out of control.
Drug paraphernalia is getting left on the bus. Knives are getting left on the bus. Knives are being poured out on the passengers on the bus.
The bus drivers' union had been demanding change, and this week, King County Metro agreed to shut down the stops around 12th and Jackson.
Nobody wants to cut off that zone.
This is the most dangerous street section in Seattle besides Pike and Pine on 3rd Avenue, the Blade in downtown Seattle. These two areas are historically the worst. And I think with that 10-person stabbing that Jeremy Harris covered a couple of months ago, with that 10-person stabbing, that is at this bus stop, the International District, South Jackson and 12th Avenue South. I think it's the most dangerous point in all of Seattle. And I don't blame the bus drivers for saying, you know what? I don't think I really want to stop there. Let's just book it on through.
Owns that community. But we have to have a safe zones there.
The intersection is known for open drugs, both at the stops and on board the coaches. Stolen goods are routinely sold on the sidewalks, and a mass stabbing recently took place in which police say a man attacked 10 people with a knife in the span of just a day and a half.
It's just the bus driver don't want to deal with it because all the people around here.
People around here, they're homeless. You know, we have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go.
A lot of transit riders are still adjusting to the closures, and many are waiting at the stops as the drivers pass them by.
So they hate to see passengers out there that don't understand and are waiting in the zone. It feels kind of cruel to just drive on by, and we're not used to doing that.
While these closures remain in effect, drivers will still use nearby bus stops that are a few blocks away.
I hope the city comes up with a resolution that kind of resolves the issue.
Joel Marino, Como News.
You can check out more on that 10-person stabbing stories. We've got a couple on our private channel, $3.99 a month, $3.99 a month. This was such a violent story, and Jeremy Harris got such great footage up close that we couldn't run it on YouTube. We had to put it on our private channel. 10 people stabbed in 37 hours in Seattle's Chinatown International District. And then the other one, this one was kind of a behind-the-scenes deal that Jeremy Harris did with his photographer, with his cameraman, and they were just walking through what it was like to run up literally on 5 people being stabbed on day 2 of these stabbings. A lot going on in Seattle. $3.99 a month, reasonabletv.com. Check it out. Do a 14-day trial. Thanks in advance. Here's our solution in Seattle. You've got a wildly violent section of town. We know that you've got sex trafficking happening there. You've got purchase of stolen goods. You've got the sale of stolen goods. You've got drugs all day long. This is an intersection that is just a couple of blocks to the north of Jose Rizal Park. That's the park where Steve Irwin went excavating in the park for gold and for diamonds. In a Seattle park. It's just to the north of there. It's very close to the area where the young lady was maybe being trafficked, maybe not being trafficked in a homeless encampment right along I-5. This is some crazy stuff is going on there. But Seattle's solution is, well, you know what? We can't really fix the crime issue. We can't do anything about all that. So buses, just don't stop there. And this is what King County Metro came up with. And I don't blame them. If I was a bus driver, I'd say, hell no, I'm not stopping. Here we go. Pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes, right? Just poof. You know who's really getting screwed in all this is the Asian community. They are just being bent over and railed because we just allow this nonsense to happen. We allow this nonsense to happen in the Asian community. And we just kind of look the other way and go, oh, well, nobody's really screaming. Now they're screaming about it. Just nobody's listening. This is ongoing. This is just the Asian community being absolutely pinned to the wall. It's wildly unfair. And yet it is what it is. It's like that section around Pike and Pine and 3rd in downtown Seattle. It's only a few blocks away from, Pike Place Market of all places, the most iconic scene of, those dudes throwing the fish. King County Metro announced the immediate closure of bus stops in the intersection of 12th Avenue South and South Jackson, citing illegal activity and citing safety concerns for riders and bus drivers. Does this all just make you want to just get on the bus, Gus, and, ride Seattle Metro, ride King County Metro? Intersection's been a troubled spot for years. I have great concern. There's trouble here. And it's known for open drug use, stolen goods, stolen goods sales, not scales, and recently was the scene of a mass stabbing. That was crazy horrific. I mean, when you've got a mass stabbing going on, 10 people by a homeless dude who's mental, I mean, this is what you get in Seattle. This is what you get when you defund the police and you don't have enough cops. And these folks know that they can get away with this. Plus, more than half the time, they're whacked out mental drug addicts, right? I mean, they're screaming at the trees for no reason, just kablooey out of their mind on whatever. I'm not saying that what's going on in our next story here, bus driver stabbed and killed in Seattle's University District. So literally on the heels of this story here, on this one, I literally wake up and go, oh, now this is University District. So this is to the north and east of our other location there by a handful of miles. This is right by the University of Washington. So, go ahead and send your children to University of Washington, one of the finest universities in all of the world, all of the planet, but maybe don't have them ride the bus. Know what I'm saying? Maybe you heard it here. Hey, don't ride the bus. And yet everybody's trying to convince us, Seattle, carbon footprint and all this good stuff. And we haven't had a stabbing or a death on the bus in 26 years. It's all good. It's mostly safe. Unless you're this bus driver, this King County employee. I mean, jeez, get stabbed and killed. Let's watch this video.
Are looking for the person who killed a bus driver overnight in the University District. Fox 13's Taylor Winkle is there. Taylor, good morning. What is the latest on this situation?
Yeah, well, the latest is Seattle police are still trying to determine who the suspect is responsible for that deadly shooting. They tell us he got in a fight with the driver while the bus was in service. That fight spilled out of the bus at some point onto the sidewalk, and that driver was stabbed in the chest during that time. The driver was able to walk a little ways down the street before he collapsed and died from his injuries. All of that happening overnight around 3, just yards.
Stabbed in the chest. Life ended on the job, middle of the night, super early morning, stabbed in the chest. Just horrific. This is what happens when you've got a bunch of Looney Tunes running around the city.
From campus on 41st and 15th. We've learned that Metro bus driver had been driving for the company for 7 years, and he was trained in de-escalation techniques. That is according to Metro. They say it's been a really hard day for drivers, and the division as a whole is reeling from this.
You get stabbed in the chest, all the de-escalation techniques in the world ain't going to help you. Didn't help this guy. What you need to do is you need to get those numbers of police officers back up, and you need to send them back out into the community, and you need to actually have some semblance of public safety. Instead, you've got all of this, stuff that's supposed to protect us just kind of falling apart, bits and pieces. I mean, this is not, how did this happen? I am shocked. I am surprised that this is going on. This doesn't surprise me at all. I am, in fact, surprised that we don't have more of this in Seattle. I mean, you got a bunch of whacked out drug addicts, homeless, just running around doing this kind of crazy stuff. I mean, who stabs a bus driver in the chest? Over what? A couple of bucks fare? I mean, nah, that individual is just nuts. And you know what? You're never going to find that guy.
There has been many tears this morning around our agency. We are reeling. This is a very uncommon thing to happen. We don't quite know the details yet. In the days and weeks to come, we'll know more.
So they couldn't speak to the safety of buses this morning when we asked, but they did say routes are diverted around the area where this happened and will be diverted throughout the on-scene investigation. Now, Seattle Police and King County Sheriff's deputies tell us they searched the area with canines this morning looking for that suspect. There are still several areas taped off as they continue their investigation. Meantime, we do know that there was video rolling on that bus when this happened. We know that detectives will be using that surveillance video as they try to piece together what led up to that altercation in the first place. Meantime, though, that suspect, as we have been saying, is still on the run. They're asking anybody in the area who sees anything suspicious or knows anything about this to get into contact with Seattle Police. We're now reporting live in Seattle. I'm Taylor Winkle, Fox 13 News.
Start searching all the homeless encampments. Guaranteed that guy's in there. Guaranteed that guy's in there. I mean, that's just terrible. Okay, so here's roughly what we're talking about. You got downtown Seattle here. You got the International District here. Here's Dr. Jose Rizal Park. The area where they've shut down the buses is right here. Here is 3rd Avenue and Pike and Pine. That's right here. That's the one in downtown. That's the Blade. That's probably the most dangerous. This is probably the second most dangerous in all of Seattle. And then we go to University District, which is up over here, and where that stabbing happened, I believe, is somewhere right in here, very close to University of Washington. So all you parents out there are sending children, maybe, although they're on break right now for Christmas, I'm sure security will be better by the time they get back to school. According to the Seattle Police Department, just before 3 a.m., stabbing near Northeast 41st Street and 15th Avenue Northeast. So the main east-west street is Northeast 45th Street. 15th is basically right on the western side. So this is literally basically the western border of the University of Washington, where, yeah, it's a block west of University of Washington's Parrington Lawn. Got a little stab action in the middle of the night. I mean, just absolutely crazy. He was a 59-year-old man, King County Metro coach driver, stab wounds to the chest. They provided medical aid, but the victim died at the scene. Seattle Police has determined that an adult male passenger got into a physical altercation with the driver at the intersection after being stabbed. The victim walked a short distance before, boop, he went down and basically died. Here's a UW alert. I mean, this kind of stuff is just absolutely, I mean, it's mind-blowing that it happens, but hey, it's Seattle, so when it does happen, are you really shocked? Absolutely not. I want to go through this article. So this is pretty interesting from the standpoint of Yin's death. Comes a day after Metro announced it would indefinitely halt bus service in the Little Saigon area because too dangerous. So we know that these Metro drivers they're not safe. Just driving the bus, not safe. I did how many podcasts on drug addicts basically getting on the bus, not paying to get on the bus, and then smoking fentanyl to the point where the bus drivers were retaliating in court. And they're basically saying, hey, I'm feeling sick from all the fentanyl that's going on in the bus. And if you think, well, why are they smoking on the bus, Sean? And it's because you've got a closed air environment. So it's easier to light your pipe, light up your fentanyl pipe, your crack pipe, your meth pipe, whatever it might be. And then you're already on the bus and you just, put a blanket over yourself and zone out, do the fentanyl nod, right? Literally, you just ride around, and nobody's going to say, hey, can you take you and your crack pipe, your meth pipe off the bus? People aren't doing that because you don't know what might happen. Like you might get stabbed in the chest at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, this article goes on to talk about the 2-day stabbing spree in the Chinatown International District. I mean, just absolutely nuts. All right, so here's what our fearless leader for King County says. We move hundreds of thousands of people a day with very rarely a serious incident, Constantine said. So transit is, on the whole, a safe way to get around. Well, ask the family of that bus driver how safe it is. What happens on the streets can spill over onto transit. We have to clean up the situation on the streets that involves interventions, mental health, and addiction. Now, at least you got that part right. I don't know what the situation was with this person who committed this outrageous act of violence, but we're going to find out. Yeah, that doesn't really help the bus driver since he's dead, nor his family, his offspring, his whatever. Guys, I mean, those are tough gigs. Driving the bus, I mean, Seattle traffic, just Seattle people, horrific. And the bus drivers have been facing so much in the way of, just nutty people getting on, people taking craps on the buses, urinating, doing drugs, you name it, having sex on the buses. I mean, anything goes. It's a free for all. Then we've got Rag Dunn here. Dunn's statement, and he is Republican. Well, the King County Council has just invested an additional $4.7 million in Metro's Safe, Security, and Fair Enforcement Reform Initiative. It's the SAFE initiative. The safety of our services are impacted by the safety of Seattle. And that's what I talk a lot about is public safety. Because coming from a background of appraisal work and trying to sell homes as a real estate broker or owner of a managing brokerage, it's much easier to sell homes in areas where there is a known public safety factor. Hey, is this neighborhood safe? Yes, it is. All right. Hey, let's start looking here. How's this one? How's the safety in 12th Avenue South and South Jackson? Yeah. Well, it's got a lot of dining options. Got a lot of, we've got a lot of food options in this area. And that's like one of the few positive things you can say about that. Our Metro drivers deserve better. Police are urging anybody with information about the stabbing to come forward by calling. Nobody's going to come forward. They might get some information. From description from the video cameras, because everybody's got video cameras now, right? I mean, they're just all out there. So you might get an image, who knows? But this guy is probably homeless. He's probably on some kind of drugs, because who else is just going around at 3:00 in the morning, right? Besides somebody trying to get something. The guy isn't going to work, I don't think. I would lay some heavy money on that. So that's just a total guess. I could be completely wrong. But then the other issue is if you're going to work and then you stab a bus driver to death, what went wrong, right? What went wrong? Didn't take your medication for the day? I don't know. Whole thing's absolutely nuts. But you know what? This is Seattle. This is Freeattle. This is kind of what you sign up and bargain for. Most folks, they just want to ignore all this stuff going on. Yeah, but Seattle's got, some of the greatest gross domestic product growth of all big cities in the United States. It does. But it's public safety? Yeah, it's got some room for improvement. Let's just leave it at that. All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Catch up with you in the next one.